Hey guys, so we are going to go ahead and get started with today's theory sections of lash extensions and then doing our hands-on. So just want to go over and review really quick of what we have covered to kind of make it all come together. So one of the last things that we learned besides strip lash application was lash tabbing. And we did the diagramming, how to apply the lash tabs, and the lash tabs already come. They are sold in a little cluster, a fan or a flare. People call them different things, but those are some of the things that you'll hear them be called. They are applied to the natural lash with glue that will last the maximum I've heard of or have seen or experienced personally is 2 weeks, and that is super taking care of them and not getting them wet, okay, which can get a little unsanitary with certain cases. So this is not a permanent service, okay. From that, okay, grew or came about lash extensions, which are not permanent because your natural lash falls out and it goes away, but it's a more permanent than the lash tabbing. Okay, that definitely lasts a lot longer, kind of like semi or demi hair color. Okay, so the lash extensions, we've gone over what they are, the cost of them, the time it takes to put them on. We've gone over the time between clients coming in and the amount of lashes that can fall out. Then we have the natural lash growth cycle. Important to know that when you're doing your applications, to know which phase, which lashes to look for that are in certain phases, so you can apply those false lashes to, which I call fibers. We've also gone over the consultation. When you sit down with your client, what is it that you're going to talk about? What are the questions to ask them to make sure that this is the right thing, the right service for them, okay? If this is not for them, then you can do the lash tabbing, okay? Or if that's not for them, you can do the strip lashes, okay? Or maybe not at all. We've gone over fibers and colors. Put the color in your Schoology at the end where it says furthering your education or your knowledge. There is a few videos on the different types of lash sets. There's the unicorn, the mermaid, and a few others, and then also how some of the lashes are made. Okay, so the lash tabs, how they are made. So that those videos are in there for you to watch as well. There's we've talked about the length and the diameter, which is important when we're going to be doing our mapping. Focuses around this for sure, for sure. We're gonna get to that in just a second. Then we have our types of curl. I went ahead and put in there the video of the different eye shapes, that how you can change what the eye shapes are, how you can change them by using different lengths, different types of curls, and different placement to make the eye shape different and look different. And so that's important to know this information and that information. So I put that video in there again today. If you've already seen it, you don't have to go back and watch it, but it's in there. Great for a refresher. And then we talked about the different lash styles yesterday as well. So the classic one fiber on one lash and the fans or the flares. We talked about the different brands or different names, techniques that there are out there. These are just some, there's so many. And then we talked about the closed fan, narrow fan, wide fan, okay? And then we did our voluminous set or volume set, and then the 2D all the way to the 5D. Okay, we talked about that and how that works out, and you practiced that yesterday. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about mapping. Okay, now that you know all this information, which is all important to know, now what we're going to do is we're going to map out. Okay, now that I know about my fibers, okay, which are my false lashes is what I call them. Now that I know how to make a fan, either one-on-one or a fan, now where do I put it on the eye? Okay, how do I make the eyes look more open, or how do I do the cat eye, or someone that doesn't want anything crazy and just wants length and not volume? What do I do with that? So the lash mapping is going to help us learn how to work these fibers. and place them on the natural lash to change, enhance, and satisfy our clients' desire for their eye, the look on their eyes. Okay. After the lash mapping, we're going to go over our station setup and our client drape. Then we're going to roll into our application. So we're going to have 3 sets of notes today. So let's go ahead and get started with this here. Now I did go ahead and switch my camera back to my previous one. I don't like the quality of this camera, but I like the audio of this camera better. So we're just going to stick with it for a little bit. All right, so we're going to go into mapping. Okay, so here we go. Now this is going to be a little challenging for some. So just, bear with yourself, because it can get, especially to the advanced one that we're going to do with our mapping, it's going to get a little bit overwhelming. So just be patient with it, okay? All right, so we're going to do lash mapping. Okay. And so with our lash mapping, there are so many ways to lash map, okay? So many ways. We're just going to go over a few, okay? I'm going to try not to overwhelm you, but just going to go over a few, okay? All right, so what we're going to do here, just to give you, a start, we're going to do, and our page is going to be pretty full of notes, so just beware, okay? We're going to do I'm just going to very quickly show you the natural. Now, just like our flare, okay, our fans, this was one company, this was another, and this was another, right? 3 different ways to do the same thing. That's what this is going to be, okay? So a way, not the way, right? So there's not just one, but a way of doing the natural is like so. So here you're going to have your lash, okay? Like this. Okay, and you've got to look at it as if your client was like this. Okay, so your client has, you're on this side, right? You're sitting down. You're both facing the same direction. The client is laying back, and then you've got it looks like a rainbow when you look down at it. So that's that part of the eye. So here's the nose, right? Okay, and then you got your brow up here. So you have your natural lash here, okay? So that's kind of how we're going to, as we draw these eyes, this is the position of our client and we're behind the client. Okay, so just so you know when we're referring to that. All right, so with the natural lash mapping, it's going to be a blueprint, a map of how you, or a floor plan per se, of how you're going to lay down your lashes, whether they be individual or the flares, okay? So for a natural look, someone that just wants to come in, just wants a little bit of length, nothing too dramatic, you are going to add your lashes, okay? I'm going to add this one in purple. This is the inside, okay? This is the outside. The inside's always going to be the nose, okay? The inside or the start, okay? The outside is always going to be the side closest to the ear, all right? And we're going to go into more detail here in just a second. All right, so as you're mapping this out, you're going to lay down in order. So we talked about the thickness or the length of our lashes, right? Okay. So remember we talked about that there was a 6, 7, 8, and the higher the number, the longer the lash. Okay. So for someone that wants a natural look, you're going to start with your lash fibers, and you're going to add the number 6 here, the number 7 here, the number 8 here, and then from here on over is the number 9. Okay. And so when you're coming in to add your lashes, right, your lashes are going to be, I guess I can do this color. Your lashes are going to be short and progressively get longer. And then they're the same length on the corner here. Okay, so that's a very natural look. Okay. Very basic, that's all. If you just want to keep it as basic as possible, that's what lash mapping is. Now, lash mapping. You and your kid have these little stickers. Okay, I think I gave you 3, maybe 2. Okay, so you can buy these stickers. And let me put it up a little bit closer. So these stickers, obviously, when you're with your client, like so, like we talked about, they're going to go underneath the eye, like so. So like a rainbow when you're looking down on it on both sides. Okay. Some companies will sell them. They're just a sticker 1 to 5. Some companies will flip it to where the 1 is on the inside. So the 1 is on the inside and the 5 is on the outside. So like I told you, the inside of the nose is a start. So that's the 1. And the outside of the lash closest to the ear, the number 5, is the end. Okay, so some companies will sell it that way, and some will just keep it just 1 sticker and you just stick it down. So whenever you're using this kind of sticker that already has your zones, so each one of these little blocks are your zones. Okay, so you can use these stickers and just mark over these stickers, okay, as you're jotting down what length you want to put where. Or you can use your pads. Now, this particular iPad doesn't have any gel or any sticky or anything on it. It's just kind of like a napkin or tissue fabric, okay? This one you have to tape down, or if you're practicing, you can put a little Vaseline down and it'll stick down when you're practicing, not on a person, because they're very slippery. But you would put your iPad down, tape that down, and then practice over and draw these numbers and draw these lines when you're zoning on your iPad. So that way, whenever you are working on your client and you're adding your lashes, you know, and you have a map or a guide as to what length lash you're putting where on the lash, on the natural lash line. Okay. So that's what that's what this lash mapping is about. Okay, so we're going to be working with these when we get to our application. Okay, so just at the most minimum, most basic, there it is right there. That's lash mapping. Okay, so we're going to take it up a notch, and I'm going to explain a little bit more in detail. Okay, so we're going to be going over the mega volume, then the cat eye, and then the wispy. Now, the wispy is going to be the most complex. Okay, so just to bear with me when we get there. We're going to color code it and everything. And then I'm just going to very quickly at the bottom, just very quickly, or maybe even on this side here, just depending on this. Yeah, probably on the next page. We'll do just a quick show of a doll around a kitten and a squirrel. And we'll talk about the squirrel in just a second. Okay, so when we're doing our diagramming, I guess this is the last thing that we're going to draw about the natural. So the next 3, the mega volume, the cat eye, and the wispy, I guess we can divide it into here. So just kind of give yourself that space as you're making your notes. And obviously, if you ever run out, you can obviously go to the next page. Okay. All right. So on the next one, we're going to use the same color. Okay. And this is going to be your mega volume. That's not the same color. All right, your mega volume. Let me switch my color. I apologize for that. All right, so your mega volume is to create an open eye. It's great for someone that has hooded eyes, someone that wants their eyes to look brighter, someone that wants their eyes to kind of maybe widen the eye. It's this particular style. And then that's what I guess you would call these the styles. Looks is also another thing that I've heard them called, or shapes. Okay, there again, every brand comes up with their own, and we're going to talk about that in a minute when we get to the squirrel. Okay, so this mega volume is perfect for that type of client, which is why it's important to know the different eye shapes and how to work these two things together. Okay, to better serve your client. So This is a universal style. The mega volume and the cat eye are going to be your universal, which means that most, it fits most on everyone. You have to adjust a few things, but you can use it pretty much on anyone. Okay. So with this one here, okay, you just need to understand that when you're doing your mapping, you're going to map at the beginning of your career experience as a lash technician or stylist. Once you begin and get used to the zones and where the lengths go to create what kind of design or style, then you don't map anymore. You just begin your application. With mapping, you get to 100% customize your client's style to their needs, their desires, and wants. Okay, so this is a great way to learn how to transition from a beginner to a pro, obviously, how to get better, quicker, how to be more organized. It's great if you're a visual learner, okay? You're going to sketch it out first, so you can guarantee yourself that you're not going to forget something or get mixed up, or oh, what did I put there? What did I put there? Or whatnot. You're going to make sure you have good symmetry on both eyes, the good starting and stopping point, which is very important. And once you practice and get better at it, you're just going to eyeball it. Okay, you don't have to be doing the mapping anymore. So mega volume is to open the eyes. All right, so here we go. So we're going to create obviously our iPad. So I guess I'll do the iPad with a pink. So our iPad is going to be kind of like a peanut, I guess you can say. Okay. And this is our lash line. Okay, remember this is the nose, right? And then the eyeball of the client has to be right in the middle. Of course, their eyes are closed, right? But when you have your clients close their eyes, make sure they're looking straight, even though their eyes are closed. So that way you know and can see that little bulge over the eyelid, and you can see where the middle is, and you can pinpoint it a whole lot better. Okay, so again, we have here on the inside of the nose, we have at the from their natural lash, because remember they have a bunch of little natural lashes here. From their natural lash in here, this is the start. Okay, and then at the very last lash is the end. Okay, the start and the end. The start is at the nose, the end is at the ear. Okay, and I guess I can draw the ear here. Okay. All right. So when you're doing your drawing, and again, we're drawing over our sticker or over our iPad, which you'll see in a minute, you'll draw over your tape. Okay. So you want to then, after you do your start and your stop, start and end, you want to have your client look straight forward, and when you find that middle line, you're going to draw a line straight down the middle, and that there is your center. Man, our notes are really going to squeeze together. It's okay. Okay. So start, center, end. All right. Each one, so like this section for right now, this is zone 1. This is zone 2 because there's only 2 sections. Okay. But from here, I'm going to divide these sections in half. So I'm going to divide that there and divide that in half. So now I have zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4. See how we went from 2 zones to 4 zones? Okay, and actually my iPad should come over more, but that's okay. I made the lash line too far out. Okay, so you've got your zones. Okay, the highest point is the center, always keeping that in mind. Okay. With the open eye, you want to go from short to long. So your lashes, see how here it goes from short to long? Okay, so same thing, from short to long here. And you want to taper it back down on the end. So I'm going to come in with red on this one so you can see nice and clear. Now, again, our diagramming is going to get a little crazy because of all the colors, and it's going to be a lot to look at. So just be patient with yourself as you're doing this. If you need to stop the video, draw it out, come back, rewind, or come back and play, you're more than welcome to do so. Okay? Okay, so we're going to take our lengths, right? All of these here. Okay, we're going to take our lengths and we're going to put a size 9 mm in zone 1. In zone 2, I'm going to put a 10 mm. Okay. Now, I want a peak or a spike right here. I want this part of my eye or my lashes to be the longest. So I'm going to go from a 10 to a 12 mm. Okay, because I want it to be longer there. So I want my eye to look open. Okay. And then I want to go shorter because I'm not doing the cat eye. I'm doing the mega volume, and it's on the center to get that eye to look more open. Okay, more wide. So I'm going to go ahead and taper back down. And instead of just making it 1, I'm going to come back and make one more zone here and split this down the middle once more. And then I'm going to mimic the other side. I'm going to do a 10 and then a 9 mm. Okay? So, in essence, what I'm doing is I'm taking, and let me grab it really quick from this side. I'm taking my lashes that are length 9, then length 10, length 12, back down to length 10, and length 9. So it goes from short, long, long, short, short. Opening my client's eye in the middle, making their eye look wider. Okay. So when I'm mapping, I have this on my sticker on my iPad. My client is ready, okay? Let's say that I have mapped that, and let's pretend that all this writing is here already, like what is here. When I'm coming in to do my application, it's a no-brainer. All I have to do now is I need to find my lashes, set my lashes here with my 9s, my 10s, and my 12s, because that's all I'm using. I'm going to take my 9s and put my 9s down. Then I'm going to take my 12s, my 10s, and then put my 10s, and then my 12s. Some people like to work from the middle out, or from the longest lash to the shortest lash. Some people like to work from the inside to the outside, or the outside to... It doesn't matter, okay? It depends on the brand. Some companies make you do it their way, or just what works for you. Some people like to start from big to small. So here I would do first my 12s, and then my 10s, and then my 9s. It just depends on how you want to do your workflow. Okay, so that's what mapping is. That's for the style mega volume. Okay, so now what we're going to do, okay, one thing I want you to write down. Your 12, this section here, your 12 is your peak or your spike. Okay. All right. So mega volume. Now we're going to do the cat eye. All right. Let me move this mannequin head here out of the way so I can push my notes up just a little bit. All right, so we're now going to move on to our cat eye. Get that out of the way. With our cat eye, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, we're going to have our iPad. Make my iPad better this time. And then we're going to have our lash line. Okay. And we're going to start from the nose, and I'm not going to draw it so it's not too crazy, but we have the nose here on the outside. On the inside, I'm sorry, we have the ear on the outside, and we have the eye in the middle. Okay, our client, their eyes are closed and she's looking straight forward. Okay, so that way we can see a little bulge and see where the center point is. Okay, so here where the very first natural lash starts. Now, some people don't have it right at the beginning and the inside where the tear duct is. Okay, so some people might be here. So let's say here, this is our start. Okay. And our very last one, let's say this is here, this is going to be our end. Okay. Because she doesn't have any lashes here, let's say. Okay. And then the client is eyes closed, looking straight forward. And then this is our center. Okay. All right. So those are my pieces. Now for the cat eye, definitely want to make sure that for this one that my prominent, my spike, my peak, the prominent part of my entire lash is from the center to the end closest to the ear, because I want it to go short to long, okay? But I don't want my very, very side edge or my very end to be crazy long. I want it to taper down slightly just to make it look like a cat eye, but make it look blended and it not look too false. They're false lashes, but you get what I'm. They're more blended. Okay. Okay. So when we start here, okay, we're going to from the, I guess you can say from this, not, I guess you can't say, from the start to the center, okay, we're going to start with a smaller number. So we're going to divide that into, I would say, about 3 sections. So here and here, okay. So I'm going to go with my numbers. I'm going to do a 9, then I'm going to do a 10, and then I'm going to do a 12. A 9, a 10, and a 12, okay, in length. Then I want, because I want to get from short to long. But then here in the center, this section is what I want it to be more prominent. I want my peak, my spike. I want the bulk of the length to be here. Okay, so I really want to go from a 12 to a 14. And then back down 13, 12. Okay, so because I still want it long, I don't want it short like this, I want it long. So I'm going to go ahead and divide this, okay, in half, okay, and then divide, so let's just say that I'm going to put my 14s here because I want these to be very long. And then I want to taper back down. But I don't want them to be short like this one, like I was saying. I want these to be long. So I'm going to split this into 2 more zones. And I'm going to do a 13 and then a 12. Okay. So in essence, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my size and length, my 9s, my 10s, my 12s, my 13s, and my 14s, and I'm going to lay them out. So when I'm working on my client, I'm going to start off with, let's say, my 9s. I start on the inside part of the eye, okay, on the start line. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zones, okay. So notice zone 14 has more space. The other ones are more squished together, okay, because I want that to be the longest part. And I probably could have made 14 a little bit more wide and 13 and 12 more close together. Okay, so here we have our 9s. So I'm going to lay down my short 9s. Then I'm going to get my 10s and make them a little, they're going to be a little longer. Then I'm going to get my 12s longer. And then my 14s really long. And then I'm going to bring them back down and get my 13s, and then I'm going to end up with my 12s at the very side end of my strip. Okay, so that's going to go from short to long, still long, but coming and tapering back down to look more blended and natural. Okay. If you go too long on the cat eye, when the client opens their eye, especially depending on the type of curl, it will poke the side of their eye. So you got to be careful with the end there. Okay, so that is our cat eye. That's your diagram there. Now the next one that we're going to do, okay, is going to be a little bit more complex. So just, you know, again, be patient with yourself. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. It's going to have from the 9s to the 15s, but it's going to be very complicated. Okay, once we get going, getting into this. My numbers, I'm going to use the smaller side of the marker because it's going to get kind of mushed in together, but I'll try to make it a lot bigger. Okay, so this one is the wispy. Okay, so the wispy look. So we went from very basic mapping, which didn't really have much of lines or anything, okay, to an actual zone mapping, diagramming, okay, with the mega volume, and then the cat eye, which are, these are the two most universal ones that people ask the most of. And then we're going to get to complex. Okay, so we're going to do the same like so, but instead of doing the iPad, I'm just going to do just the lash line, and I'm going to do it pretty big. Okay, so I'm going to do the lash line like so. Again, we have, you know, here's the ear, right? And here's the nose, okay? The eye is in the middle, so you can see, you know, where the center line is, etc., etc. Now, when you're doing the wispy, you're going to use a narrow fan. So we talked yesterday about our closed fan, narrow fan, wide fan, okay? So our narrow fan, okay, the fibers are not, when you're separating them out from here, right? When you're separating them out from into your little clusters, depending on how many, the diameter, depending on how many fibers you put per cluster, you want to fan it out to where it's not all stuck together and it's not super fanned out. It's right in the middle, okay? So again, that's why it's important for all that other knowledge, for you to have all that other knowledge, because it all comes together in the end, okay? All right, so here we go. This one always, you know, it's just complicated. It's not complicated. It's a lot to take on. Okay, so we have our lash line. We're ready to go. Okay, we have I'm not gonna do the start center end, and I'm not gonna do my zones. Okay, I'm just gonna draw them out. So I'm not gonna do the purple on here. Okay, I'm just gonna come in and do my lashes. So I'm gonna do each number, each length in a different color. So because I want my lashes to look wispy, I'm gonna have some spikes or some peaks, okay? I want the inside to have a shorter spike because whenever they open the eye, I wanna make sure and you know that they don't poke themselves, okay? So let's do 3 and 3. So I'm gonna do a spike here, 2, and then 3. Okay, and these are going to be my 15 mm. So this is my longest that I'm going to be using. Okay, so 3 on the outer corner, and this is a fan. Okay, and then I'm going to come in and add 3 here. So 1, 2, but on the inside, I don't want it to be, and this is my 15, 15, okay. I don't want it to be too long here, okay. So I'm gonna use a smaller number. I'm gonna use a 14, okay. So here's where we're gonna go. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna start back on this side, okay. On the right side of my length, 15 length lash fan, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do a narrow fan of 14 mm. Here I'm going to do a 14 in length, 14, okay, and 14. Notice that there's not a 15 here. Okay, so that's 14 mm. In length, Each one of these, the blue 15 is a, let's say you do the 4D narrow fan. Okay, that is one fan. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fans over my client's natural lash. 11 fans or flares, whatever you'd like to call it. Okay. All right, those are my 14s. Because I want my spike, I want that one to really pop. So now I want to come in, okay, and I want to, let me get my, where's my green? Here it is, okay. Nope, that's not it, this is it, okay. I want to come in and I want to create, okay, a smaller fan to really blend it in. So I'm going to come in on the right side, or I guess the left side. The 14 was the right side. The 13 is going to be on the left side. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a 13 mm on the left side of the blue, which is my 15 mm. Now these are smaller than, in short, than the 14s. Okay. So I just added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more fans in the 13 millimeter length. Okay. Now I'm going to come in and I want to continue to blend because her natural lashes are still short down here. I want it to all blend in. I'm going to come in, okay, and I'm going to add with my violet, I'm going to add a blend here, okay, of a 10, no, let's see, I'm sorry, I'm telling you wrong, a 12. So in between, I want 12 mm's. Okay, do you see how I'm filling it in? Okay. Do you see how the 15, it kind of makes like a V shape? It's a spike. Okay. So those are my 12s or my fill-ins. Okay. It fills in the gaps to blend the spikes into my natural lashes and into each other. Now on the corners, okay, on the corners, this one's important. On the corners, I want it to blend. Okay. So on my corners, what I want to do is I want to do a 10 mm, one on either side. And then I want to do, sorry, 2 10s on the side. And then I want to do one, where's my marker here? What color have I not used? Okay, I'm going to do a dark green. And then I'm going to do a 9 mm on the inside. So this is definitely very voluminous. It's wispy, okay? So let me see how many clusters I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Here, for my wispy look, very voluminous, got spikes here, okay? That has that many of these narrow fans that we created yesterday. That is a lot of lash, right? Which is why it's very important to understand which thickness, which diameter works the best to create the fans for the kind of lash your client has. If she's got natural little lashes, don't be putting thick diameter lashes fibers on her. Okay, make sure that you are within the range necessary. Okay, if the client has really short lashes and cannot support a 15 in length, then she wants the wispy, it's okay. Instead of using the 15 as the spike for the longest, you can use the 10 and then just go 10, 9, 8, 7, etc. Instead of making the 15 the longest spike, make 10 the longest spike, and that's okay. Okay, so you have to customize your style according to what your client naturally has and what your client's natural lashes can support, but still being able to customize it and give her what she wants in the end result. Okay, so again, like I said, that got a little crazy. Okay, but that's definitely customizing your client's lashes, which is why you can charge them so much, because it takes time and you're doing something that she cannot go buy at the store. Well, she can, but not this manner, okay? A strip lash won't last as long as these lash extensions, all right? So this is what you would draw, okay, in your, on your sticker or on your pad. Alrighty, so on your, let's see what else if there's missing. Anything missing? I think that's it. So that is your lash mapping for very basic to a little bit more complicated and customized. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move on with our next thing that we're going to cover, which has the same thing to do with lash mapping, but we're going to cover our styles, the names of the styles. So then we have natural, mega volume, cat eye, wispy. And so I'm going to very quickly do a few here, okay? So I used green, so I'll use the same green. So we have natural, as you saw, right? We have, okay, so these are the style names, okay? So our style names will vary according to the brand, the manufacturer, the salon, the stylist, etc., okay? So we have, of course, natural, you already saw. We have doll, okay? We have round, okay? We have kitten, and we have squirrel. And the squirrel is very interesting because that's something that somebody customized, made for their own. Okay, that's not necessarily a universal name like the cat eye. The cat eye, when you say cat eye, everybody knows what that is. Okay, small in the middle, short in the middle, and I'm sorry, in the center, small in the inside, start, and it progressively gets longer and it blends into a very, not too crazy short, but just a smidge short towards the end. Okay, everybody knows the cat eye. Everybody knows the round. Okay, the squirrel, you say that and you're like, what is that? Okay, so you can, if you are a lash artist, you can customize, like we did the wispy, you can customize your own design, your own look, and you can call it whatever you want. You can have these diagrammed out or an actual application and have it, frame, take a nice picture, blow it up, frame it, and then call it, squirrel, and put it on your wall and ask your client, okay, I have these fox, squirrel, rabbit, and whatever else you want, and then you can, jazz it up with something fancy or something simple or something very common and have them on your wall. When your clients come in, you say, okay, these are the styles available, which one would you like? And then you can go from there, okay? Or you can customize something individually for them. So really quick, I want to come in and I'm going to draw these with my, I guess I'll go ahead and use red. I'm going to come in and do my doll. My lashes are going to be, well, I guess let me do gray because that way you can see better. My doll is going to start short and progressively get longer. So my lashes, okay, short to long. So this is my lash line, okay. I'm going to do in red, my zones are going to be 6, okay, 7, 8, okay, 9, and the rest is 10. Yeah, okay. My round, okay, is going to be very curved, if you will. Okay, here is my eyelash. I'm sorry, my lash line. Okay, my lashes are going to go short to long to short. Okay, it has a round effect, and it's going to go, 10 is going to go in the middle. Okay, 9, 7, 8, sorry, can count, 7, 6. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 from the center out. Then from the center in, it's going to be 10 in the center, then 9, 8, 7, 6. Sorry, I know my numbers bleed, and I never use the smaller side for the other one. Okay, that's my round. My kitten, running out of space here. My kitten is going to go from short to long to short, similar to my cat eye. You saw this one, the round is very similar to my mega volume. Okay, very similar. So my kitten is going to go short, progressively get longer, and then get short. Okay, so here, our longest one, okay, is going to be here. This is going to be my 10s. Then I'm going to do a 9 and an 8. So 10, 9, 8. And then here, so that whole section is going to be 10, okay, because it's very prominent. And then I'm going to count downwards and go 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay. My squirrel, okay. Very similar, but just a different shape. It's going to go from short to long to short. Okay. And again, customizing, this is something someone made up, and so they have their own mappings and their own numbers. Okay. We're going to go ahead, there's the same concept, except for there's not a huge section of 10s here. It's pretty much all the same. So it's going to go short, and then it's going to go long, and it's going to go short. So here we have our 10. We have our 11. Oh, darn it, that was 11. I'm sorry. 11. My bad. We have our 10, our 9, and our 8. Then from the 11, we have 10, 9, 8, 7. I'm sorry, 6. I knew there was one missing. Okay. And that is essentially your mapping. Okay. So style names, what you could do is you can create your own, and then you can offer it could be your signature. This particular stylist, the squirrel is her signature. Okay. And she customizes it and changes it up for each individual client, and that works just perfect. Okay. So those are just some. Again, there are so many, but these are just some of the different ways that you can do your mapping, and definitely some very important things that you need to make sure, definitely make sure that you take into consideration when you are starting out in this type of service. Okay, you want to make sure that you understand it, that you practice it on paper, practice it on the mannequins, practice it on, the way we've been practicing on the cardboard or the little sponge or whatnot, and then, you know, start getting some clients and do a lot of practice, take a lot of pictures, have your portfolio, so that way when people want to see, you know, what your style is like, or what your signature is, or how your work is, then you can show them a portfolio, and then they'd be more willing to come to you to get the service done, because this is something that a lot of people are wary of going just to anyone or going to someone that's new. Just because it's a little bit more, it's not permanent, but it's a little bit more permanent than just a regular, and it's their eyes, right? It's a little bit more permanent than just a regular strip lash application. All right, so there you have it. There is your theory part of your lash mapping. I hope you got something out of that. And then from here, we're going to go ahead to our station setup, our client drape. We're going to do our eye taping technique and some tips, and then our application and our hands-on. And so go ahead and check out the next video.